Hello, today I'm here to talk to you about my Y-DNA journey on my father's side, the Coate paternal line. The immigrant ancestor to Australia for me was John Coate, who was born in Somerset in 1826. His parents were Marmaduke Coate and Amy Hewlett, and there's his baptism registration there with the spelling of C-O-T-E, and there's lots of different variations of spelling of his surname throughout the records, and it's something that continues down to this present day, including myself, who has gone by a number of different spellings. John emigrated to Adelaide in 1848 aboard the Princess Royale and married his wife Elizabeth Richards in Adelaide a couple of years later. She was also from Somerset. Now, the couple may have known each other back in Somerset. They actually had 12 children together, and John and Elizabeth are my second great-grandparents. And there's the family tree down there. And the Coate family were Quakers and are mentioned in lots of the records that the Quakers left. We had record books from the Quaker meetings. And at the time when I first started researching, there were many US lines going back to another line of Marmadukes, or well, not another line, but Marmadukes further back in the tree in Somerset. And there seems to be a little bit of a gap in the records, but there's lots of Marmaduke Coates in Somerset. And my quest at that time was to work out whether they were the same family. So I was very keen to test someone as for Y-DNA. I first tested Family Finder in 2010 and recruited a second cousin to do the Y-DNA for me in about 2012. Being an only child, I had to go back to second cousins. This is my first person that's available, as my father had no other children and neither did his sister or his mother. Had no others besides him. So, but sadly, when we did the Y-DNA test, there was no matches to the long line of Marmadukes in Somerset. In fact, there was no autosomal matches to the Coate surname at all. Over time, we have had one triangulated segment going back to his parents, Marmaduke Coate and Amy Hewlett, through John's brother Marmaduke. He only had one boy, so it's only one test. And when you look at all the matches there, or the descendants there, there's a couple of women who had no Y-DNA. Marmaduke only had one boy who had no male issue, so no Y-DNA there. But so all the Y-DNA is in John's line, he had 12 children. Whilst 3 died as infants, there were 6 surviving boys. So I have managed to recruit 2 DNA testers that proves the line back to John Coate through Y-DNA. Lots of autosomal matches, but not too many. Only that one match going back on Marmaduke and Amy's to the parents, Marmaduke and Amy. And we do have a tentative match on Amy's line, but it goes back to 8th cousin once removed. So potentially there is some question mark over whether Marmaduke Coate 1791 is in fact John's father, or whether it's someone else entirely. So what did the YSTR testing tell me? So at 111 markers, which we eventually upgraded to over time, we consistently had the same matches as we did at 37. A group of people by the name of Bennett and Locke. And these testers and I continued to upgrade over the years. We still had the same results that we were matching only each other. Now, the Bennett line have confirmed ancestry back to Henry Bennett, who was supposedly born in Somerset, but arrived in the United States in Massachusetts about 1650 or something. But they all go back to that and descend from several of his sons. So they have clearly gone back to 1629. The Lockes all come to John Locke 1695, but very closely related those people are. So I think they've only actually confirmed the Locke line back to 1901. Now, one of the other funny things that happened with our STR testing when we did the 2012 tests was that we identified that we had an unusual marker, and that marker was the very first one, which is DYS 393, and everyone who we matched had the number of 12, and apparently this is said to demonstrate roots in the Anglo-Scottish Borders region, and the hypothesis is that a lot of these people with this marker descend from the Sarmation Cavalry that was stationed along the Roman wall early in the 1st and 2nd centuries. And often people have, with this particular marker, have blood group B prevalence in Asia, which suggests that it may have come from this area, the Roman area, back in time. So is my ancestor a coat, a Bennett or a Locke? It was a bit like the chicken and the egg. The family story has always been that there was some connection to the famous company Coates Cotton, you may recall, who originated from Scotland. My mother always told the story of how my father's Aunt Sylvie, when someone from the Coates family came to Australia, she was very interested in family history and actually made contact with them and confirmed the connection. But there's nothing documented, or there's no other information about that. So I've tried to connect this family genealogically, but I cannot. And I had hoped Y-DNA testing might have given us the answer on that. But there's no Coates Y-DNA testers from this family yet. So could this be our line? Could we be going back to the Scottish area? Or are we really Bennetts or Lockes? So in 2014 we did commissioned a study by Tyrone Bowes in the UK to sort of pinpoint the genetic homeland of the Bennett, Coate and Locke group. And he came up with the answer that they came from Burnham-on-Sea, which was only 8 kilometres away from where my Coates family came from, Huntsville in Somerset. Now this is very interesting to me because of the information we already had about DYS 393 and its connection to Roman Britain. And when you look at the map, Burnham-on-Sea is actually on the famous Roman road called the Fosse Way. So could there be some truth in this story? Some of the other work that Tyrone did was to look at the distribution of the surname of our key 3 surnames, plus a few others that we were getting matches with around that time, or around from various documents. And here we see the 1841 census, and more people with those surnames concentrated around the Yorkshire area and Somerset, which are clearly also on the Roman road that we see there on the right. So his conclusion, as I said earlier, was that the Bennett group, which includes my Coate and the Locke families, were possibly concentrated, clustering near Burnham-on-Sea, close to the Bristol Channel. And you can see there, part of his research was looking at names of places around those areas, as well as the surname distribution. You can see there Coate Farm, Bennett Road, Locke's Way, etc. So what we did after that study was set up a broader Y-DNA project to try and attract more members that might give us more clues about our origins. And we joined the project there RZ2103 because it was predominantly trying to look at this question of DYS 393 marker, and that project is agitating for a new haplogroup for people with this marker. But nothing's come of that, even though it's been talked about for quite a number of years. And also the BY3299, which is the highest level haplogroup in the tree for this particular group. And so we've got a much more discrete number there of 41 members. So all of them are giving us information that we can use. And by 2019 I arranged for my tester, my cousin, to have the big Y chest. And not surprisingly, the people we were matching here were Bennett's, Locke's, etc. And we had this new match come in, there's 3 people actually there, but only 2 are showing, and they are of the Little and Mormon name. But that group goes back to Scotland, so that's of big interest to me, but not to the Coates family as far as I can see. So you can see here that the Coates Surname Project has given us some information, and you can see there that I've only got, in terms of matches coming out from that haplogroup of RY82698, is my kit, my second cousin's kit, plus also the Henry Bennett, one of the Henry Bennett kits. And these Coates ancestors who are in the Coate project, this is the US lines, are still coming in quite a long way back, so they're not as close as these other Bennett Locke ancestors. But if you look at the Bristol Channel project, you can see that we've got a lot more people involved here, and we're getting these numbers closer back in time. This group, 1700 in the current era. We've got Henry Bennett's group. We still don't fit in anywhere. I have got another person tested, but we've had problems with his kit, so we're still awaiting his big Y results, and hopefully we can improve on this number, this 1100 number, and bring it more back down here. The Henry Bennett group continues to be showing around 1600, and we know that to be correct because we have a number of people descended from different sons of Henry. And again, this John Locke group in Philadelphia, who is also believed to have come from Somerset. We only have most recent common ancestor of the people in this group goes back to 1901. So we've got a long way to go to be able to draw these together and make any more conclusions. So what about the Sarmation Cavalry? After I prepared this presentation, I watched Roberta Estes's video, and she talked about this FTDNA globe tracker. And what was very surprising for me was that when I had a look at the development of the haplogroups from Y-DNA Adam going along here up to here, it comes in here at the Black Sea and then extends over to England. And when I looked up information about the Sarmation Cavalry, it sounds as if they, in about 175 AD, they did go to Britain, and so there may be some truth in this story, which seems to be supporting the story of the DYS 393 marker. So only time will tell. I'm anxiously awaiting the results of the Y-DNA test for my third cousin, and hopefully I'll be able to report a bit more in the future. So are we a Coate, are we a Bennett, are we a Locke, or are we something else entirely? And the fact that we possibly do extend from Romans building Hadrian's Wall, my visit there become that much more special. Thank you.